So let me share my screen. Uh-oh. Miranda, can you make me the host or co-host?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There you go.
Let me see. Let me make sure that before
Oh, I have exciting news before we start.
Okay, for
This
sure.
big girl used the potty yesterday.
Who did?
Ariana,
Really?
she used the potty.
Aww. She's a big girl. She too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we even dive into that, we are going to review just one question because I think it's important for our learning. I mean, my desktop is just, ooh. Okay, let's share this. You all see my screen?
Oh, that's weird.
You see that?
Oh, there it goes. It fixed itself.
You see what it's doing though? It's like sharing two. I want it to just be.
Oh, you just wanted to show one?
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Okay. So number one says, which we only gonna do two of these questions just to make sure that we understood chapter 13 and 14. I want us to focus on number one for now. Which three words best summarize chapters 13 and 14? So think about the past two chapters. Bunts
Ooh.
and bogus is what I'm thinking about. But do anybody want to take a risk and tell us what they think it is? Or better yet, yeah, just have somebody take a risk.
Let's
Okay,
see.
options. Badger tail goose, digging, selecting, more digging, storehouse.
Williams, Miss Williams,
Yes,
you just dropped our answers in the chat or no?
you can if you want to, Dewan.
Okay.
Storehouse, ducks, bullseye, tire, shelves, hams.
Let's
Mm.
see. Um, Felix, you want to take a risk?
I think is maybe it is B.
Digging, selecting, and more digging. Okay. Good.
Anybody else who might want to respectfully agree or disagree? Logan, I see your hand.
This is not a good spot.
Logan?
I respectfully disagree with Felix because I think it's storehouse, ducks, and bullseye.
Why?
Bullseye.
Why do you think it's C over B?
Because I don't really think they dig that much in chapter 13 and 14.
I agree with you. If I had to choose a correct answer here, I would go with C because they didn't dig that much. They were really focused on being there. They
Oh,
were really
Logan, don't forget to mute yourself again.
focused on. Can you see my chat? Oh, gosh. Okay, hold on.
I don't see the chat box.
Okay, just making sure. They were really focused on being in Bunch's storehouse. Remember, they went to was it bogus? It was Bunch's storehouse, right? And it was bogus chicken house. Yes, bogus chicken's house. So I think that's the better answer. B, yes, they did dig, but I think the best answer here would be C. Okay, now we're going to do number two before we jump into our reading. Can I have JV, could you read this question, number two? Make sure you unmute yourself.
Which word best describes Mr. Fox?
Which word best describes Mr. Fox? Drop this answer in the chat, please. Is it nervous? A. Confused. B. C. Sneaky. D. Annoyed. What describes him in the past just 2 chapters? If we're thinking about Mr. Fox, what word best describes him? Drop it in the chat, please.
So they
A.
can Elena.
Let's see. I see some C. I see a Emmanuel, you raised your hand. Yes, you have a question?
I accidentally raised my hand on accident.
Okay. C. Demaya, can you tell us why you chose D? Why do you think Mr. Fox is annoyed?
The reason why I chose D is because when they saw Mr. Badger, I think Badger was kind of given annoyed.
Well, Badger may have been annoyed, but what was Mr. Fox when what was his action showing? Did the farmers know that he was in their houses? Demaya? No, because he was being
No, they didn't know.
Because he was
Annoyed?
Not quite. Annoyed is like upset. I wouldn't be upset if I got food for my family. Anybody want to help us out? I would say that, Demaya, C, sneaky is the correct answer here. Because once again, you told me Mr. Fox and them, or Mr. Fox, the former, didn't know that they were in his house. So wasn't Mr. Fox and his kids being sneaky? And they were sneaking into the farmers' houses? I think they were. Okay, so good risk, honey, but C is the better answer here. Okay, good. Now, let's proceed to reading. Let me exit out of this.
It's my favorite chapter. I'm so. It's funny.
Yeah, this one is. Okay. Chapter 15, Being Secret Cider Seller. And then let me see. Yeah, so I'll start us off just to keep the ball rolling because I want us to get through chapter 15 today, just based off our time together being limited. Chapter 15, Being Secret Cider Seller. Mr. Fox examined the wall carefully because remember, last time he came to that concrete, so he wasn't able to get around it. He saw that the cement between the bricks was old and crumbly. So he loosened the brick without much trouble and pulled it away. Suddenly, out from the hole where the brick had been, there popped a small, sharp face with whiskers. "Go away," it snapped. "You can't come in here, it's private." "Good Lord," said Badger. "It's Rat." "You saucy beast," said Mr. Fox. "I should have guessed we'd find you down here somewhere." "Go away," shrieked Rat. "Go on, beat it. This is my private pitch." "Shut up," said Mr. Fox. "I will not shut up," shrieked Rat. "This is my place. I got here first." Mr. Fox gave a brilliant smile, flashing his white teeth. My dear Rat," he said softly, "I am a hungry fellow, and if you don't hop it quickly, I shall eat you up in one go." Go ahead, Miss Miranda.
That did it. Rat popped back fast out of sight. Mr. Fox laughed and began pulling more bricks out of the wall. When he had made a biggish hole, he crept through it. Badger and the smallest fox followed him in. They found themselves in a vast, damp, gloomy cellar. "This is it!" cried Mr. Fox. "This is what?" said Badger. "The place is empty." Where are the turkeys? Asked the smallest fox, staring into the gloom. I thought Bean was a turkey man. He is a turkey man, said Mr. Fox, but we're not after turkeys now. We've got plenty of food. Then what do we need, Dad? Take a look around, said Mr. Fox. Don't you see anything that interests you? Badger and the smallest fox peered into the half-darkness. As their eyes became accustomed to the gloom, they began to see what looked like a whole lot of big glass jars standing upon the shelves around the walls. They went closer. They were jars. There were hundreds of them, and upon each one was written the word cider.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there for a second. Friends, can you all name a time when you drink cider? Around what time of the year do we drink apple cider? Anybody know? Anybody got an idea? Around what time of the year do we drink apple cider? Let's see. I'm gonna just choose someone random. When do we drink apple cider? I'm thinking. Oh, patience. Yes.
I think you. I think you drink apple cider during Christmas.
I'm thinking more so around another. I guess Christmas is not far off. I'm
Yeah.
thinking a little sooner though. I'm thinking like October ish.
Logan, Logan said Thanksgiving, and so did Nikayla.
Around, so yeah, kind of around that time frame. I'm thinking like Thanksgiving, around the fall season, right? But we go to the pumpkin patch. Typically, you can get and buy apple cider. And so, if anybody ever been to Tuttle's Orchards, the apple orchard, you may have saw apple cider there. So good. Okay, let's keep reading. We'll read this page and then we'll let them start. The smallest fox leaped high in the air. Oh, Dad, he cried out. Look what we found. It's cider. Exactly, said Mr. Fox. Tremendous, shouted Badger. Being secret cider cellar, said Mr. Fox. But go carefully, my dears. Don't make a noise. The cellar is right underneath the farmhouse itself. Cider? Said Badger. It's especially good for badgers. We take it as medicine, one large glass 3 times a day, with meals and another at bedtime. It will make the feast into a banquet, said Mr. Fox. While they were talking, the smallest fox had sneaked the jar off the shelf and had taken a gulp. Wow, he gasped. Wowee. You must understand, this was not the ordinary weak, fizzy cider one buys in a store. It was the real stuff, a home-brewed, fiery liquor that burned in your throat and boiled in your stomach. It's some good cider. Let's see. Emmanuel, can you start us off with the first few paragraphs, followed by Christian, ending with Jayana. Emmanuel, start us off.
Ah! Yes, gasped the smallest fox. This is some cider. That's quite enough of that, said Mr. Fox, grabbing the jar and putting it in his own lips. He took a tremendous gulp. It's marvelous, he whispered. Fighting for breath, it's fabulous. It's beautiful. It's my turn, said Badger, taking the jar and tilting his head well back. The cider gurgled and bubbled down his throat. It's like melted gold, he gasped. Oh, Foxy, it's like drinking sunbeams and rainbows. You're poaching, shrieked Rat.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I like how he just stopped at a good place that felt good for him. Christian, can you finish us this page, please? Put that down.
Put that down at once. There will be none left for me. Rat was perched upon the highest shelf in the cellar.
Christian,
Here-
pause you for a second. Make sure you read them with expression, okay? So we know the difference when we see those quotation marks. You're poaching, shrieked Rat. Okay. Make sure so start over. You're poaching.
You're poaching, shrieked Rat. Put that down at once. There'll be none left for me. Rat was perched upon the highest shelf in the cellar, peering out from behind the huge jar. There was a small rubber tube inserted in the neck of the jar, and Rat was using this to suck out the cider. You're drunk, said Mr. Fox.
He is drunk. So who's drunk here? Who's drunk?
Badger.
Badger? Agree? Disagree? Who's drunk? You're poaching, Rat. Put that down at once.
I see Demaya's hand up.
Maya, who's drunk?
Rat is drunk.
Rat is drunk. Okay, let's keep going. Paying attention. Okay, Jayana, let's go. She on here still?
I think so, but we got to go to the next page.
Wait. Yeah. Can you all see it?
Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
Where's Jayana?
Okay, let's go with someone else.
Let's go with Logan.
Logan, go ahead.
Mind your own business, shrieked Rat. And if you great clumsy brutes come messing around and here will be caught, get out and leave me to sip my cider in peace. At that moment, they heard a woman's voice calling out in the house above them. Hurry up and get that cider, Mabel, the voice called. You know, Mr. Bean doesn't like to be kept waiting, especially when he has been out all night in a tent. All animals froze. They stayed absolutely still. Their ears pricked, their bodies tense. Then they heard the sound of the door being opened. The door was at the top of the flight of a light of a stone steps leading down from the house to the cellar.
Okay. And now someone was starting to come down the steps. Give me 1 second. I'm struggling right now. Okay. Now we're good. Okay, so somebody's about to come down the steps. Let's keep reading. Uh-oh. The woman. Let's see where we at on time. We got enough time. Let's keep reading. So before we go on, there were 2 new characters. Let's see. It was one really main character, I would say, introduced in this chapter. Who was that character? Someone unmute yourself and tell us.
Rat.
Excuse me.
just heard a voice, but we don't know the name. It said at that moment they heard a woman's voice calling out, saying, "Hurry up and get that cider, Mabel." So, friend, a small mistake. So down there, and okay, Miss Miranda, can you explain?
You were breaking up. I heard you say my name, and then I didn't hear what you said after that.
Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Chapter 16. Okay. I think
You want me to read chapter 16? Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
Can you read some of it?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm sorry. It was your internet was starting to do the thing.
Yep.
All right. So chapter 16, the woman. Quick, said Mr. Fox. Hide. He and the badger and the smallest fox jumped up to a shelf and crouched behind a big row of big cider jars. Peering around the jars, they saw a huge woman coming down into the cellar. At the foot of the steps, the woman paused, looking right and left. Then,
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay, hold on.
then she
Excuse me.
turned and headed straight for the place where Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox were hiding. She stopped right in front of them. The only thing between her and them was a row of cider jars. She was so close, Mr. Fox could hear the sound of her breathing. Peeping through the crack between the two bottles, he noticed that she carried a big rolling pin in one hand. How many will he want this time, Mrs. Bean? The woman shouted. And from the top of the steps, the other voice called back, Bring up 2 or 3 jars. He drank 4 yesterday, Mrs. Bean. Yes, but he won't want that many today because he's not going to be up there more than a few hours longer. He says the fox is bound to make a run for it this morning. It can't possibly stay down that hole another day without food.
Felix, continue, please.
The woman in the cellar reached out and lifted a jar of cider from the shelf. The jar she took was next but one to the jar behind which Mr. Fox was crouching. I'll be glad when the rotten brute is killed and strung up on the front porch, she called. And by the way, Mrs. Bean, your husband promised I could have the tail as a souvenir.
Yeah. Let's go with patient. The tail's been.
The tail's been all shot to pieces, said the voice from upstairs. Didn't you know that you means it's ruined? Of course it's ruined. They shot the tail. But Mrs. Fox, oh heck, said the big woman, I did so want the tail. You can have the head instead. Mabel, you can get it stuffed and hang it on your bedroom wall. Hurry up with the
Hurry up now with that.
hurry up now with the cider.
Cider. Hurry up now with that cider. So I have a question for Nikayla. Nikayla, what is this big woman name? What is her name?
Her name is Mama.
Mama? Honey, look at
So,
I
Nikayla,
don't.
look at where Miss Williams highlighted.
Oh, Mabel.
Mabel. Good job, honey. Way to correct that. Her name is Mabel. And Danae. Danae, do we know the name of the woman at the top of the stairs?
Yeah, I'll probably be back up here in.
Did you say Danae?
Yes. Do you know that? Do we know the name of the woman at the top of the stairs yelling? Who is that? Who did they say she was? Make sure we understand what we're reading. Who is that, Danae?
Mr. Bean.
Mr. or Mrs. Bean?
Mrs. Bean.
Mrs. Bean. So the woman who's yelling at the top of the stairs is Bean's what?
Bean's mom.
Not mom. If your mom and dad is married, your mom is the
Wife.
So Mrs. Bean is Bean's what? It's Bean's wife, okay? So the woman at the top of the stairs yelling is Bean's wife, and she's yelling down to Mabel to get that cider. And now I have one more question before we continue. We got to understand what we're reading. Elena, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question for you, honey. Do Mabel know that the foxes are down there in Badger?
No.
No, she don't, because they're hiding behind this jar, hoping not to get caught. Remember, Demaya, that's what makes us say that Mr. Fox is very sneaky, right? Because he's hiding right now, and don't nobody know he's down there. Okay, good. We're exactly where I need us to be. Good, good, good. Okay. Where's yes, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, I'm coming. Yes, ma'am, I'm coming, said the big woman. And she took a second jar from the shelf. If she takes one more, she'll see us, Mr. Fox. He told the, somebody
Don't forget to mute yourself so that we can hear Miss Williams.
Okay. Oh gosh, I forgot where I was at. He could feel the smallest fox's body pressed tightly against his arm, quivering with excitement. Will 2 be enough, Mrs. B? Or shall I take 3? My goodness, Mabel, I don't care so long as you get a move on. Then 2 it is, said the huge woman, speaking to herself now. He drinks too much anyway. Carrying a jar in each hand and with a rolling pin tucked under one arm, she walked across the cellar. At the foot of the steps, she paused and looked around, sniffing in the air. There's rats down here again, Mrs. Bean. I can smell them. Then poison them, woman. Poison them. You know where the poison's kept. Miss Miranda, can you read just to these two, and then I'm gonna have Dewan finish us off.
Yes, ma'am, Mabel said. She climbed slowly out of sight, up the steps. The door slammed. Quick, said Mr. Fox. Grab a jar each and run for it. Rat stood on his high shelf and shrieked. What did I tell you? You nearly got nabbed, didn't you? You nearly gave the game away. You keep out of here from now on. I don't want you around. This is my place.
Dewan, take it over. Make sure you unmute yourself, buddy. Unmute yourself. We can't. There you go. Now you, right here.
You, Mr. Fox, are going to be punishment,
Poison.
poison, pupper, pupper.
It's okay.
Word.
Right?
Miss Williams, I'm
Yes.
mixing up words right now.
It's okay. Let's keep going. Poppycock said rat.
Poppycock said rap. Okay. I sit up here and watch the ting putting
Yep.
putting the stuff down shall never get me.
Good job. Never get me. And let's have Evan finish us off. Good job, Dewan.
Thank you.
Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox ran across the cellar, clutching a gallon jar each. Goodbye, Rat, they called out as they disappeared through the hole in the wall. Thanks for the lovely cider, thieves, shrieked Rat. Robbers, bandits, burglars.
Okay, we are going to pause there. Wow, we got through quite a bit. Happy with where we at. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen.
And Miss Williams. Miss Williams,
Yes, Dewan.
guess what?
Let's save that, okay? We about to have questions in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, Miss Miranda, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, a lot happened here. So, first we was introduced to Rat, then we were introduced to Mabel, and then we seen that they almost got caught because they were being greedy. But did they go to Bean Cellar for food? You could just shake your head, yes or no. Did they go to Bean Cellar for food? We should all be shaking our head no. They went for something to drink because they had realized that they needed something to drink. And we learned early on that Bean had good apple cider. And so my question for us is, and we're going to just, matter of fact, let me just look really fast. Let's just actually explore a few of these questions, actually. So that you all can see it and we're on the same page. We're not going to do them all. We're just going to do these ones together. So take a second and read number 1. Give me a thumbs up once you've read it.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Dewan.
Give us a thumbs up once you've read it. And if I were you, I would probably read all 3 of the questions knowing that we're about to go over them. Give me 1 second. Miss Williams needs to blow her nose. Oh. My allergies, Miss Miranda.
I feel that. My face is killing me right now.
Okay, so number 1 says, and I like how Danae is taking notes because she really wants to learn. What food do the foxes take from Bunce's storehouse to give to the rabbits? So just think about that. Let me, because this is about Bunce's storehouse. I know that that's probably located in a chapter about Bunce's storehouse, which is all the way back in chapter 13. And so let me find.
I actually saw it.
I remember us reading about it, but I'm sure everyone probably don't. It might have been at the beginning, right?
It's actually, I think it's at the end.
Is at the end?
Yeah.
Miss Miranda. You see what happened when you underline stuff? Look at what sticks out of our paper. This is why we always talk about underlining. It's not in here. You're right, it is at the end. Well,
You passed it earlier, and it was like one of those pages that it got like cut. I think it's the next page.
not this one.
Oh, hold on, let me see this one. I don't think it's this one.
I remember like
I don't see it here either. I think it's the next page.
oh,
There it is.
gotcha. Okay. Now everybody should be able to find the answer. We even gave you the page. Now the question was, I should have dropped it in the chat.
Here, let me do that. What food did the foxes? Okay.
I got it, Miss Miranda.
Thank you.
If I can like see my chat, that's always the thing I struggle with. Okay. There we go. Now let's go back into the text. Use your text. Remember, we shouldn't be guessing. And you see how Miss Miranda and Miss Williams, we use what the question was to help us understand what chapter to go back to. It was a question about bunts, and we knew chapter 13 talked about bunts, so that's where we went to go look. Somebody raise their hand and give us the answer to this question, please. Give us where we found the answer in the text.
Let's see.
There should be someone who hasn't answered the question today. Christian, Elena, Danae. We haven't heard much from you. Dewan.
Christian.
Daisy. Christian. Can you tell Miss? Can you read maybe a sentence that helps you get the answer from our text?
One up there, and carrots, Dad.
Yes, good job, Christian. And carrots, the answer is right there. What food do the foxes take from the storehouse to give to the rabbit? Kept going. He said, it's not for me, it's for the rabbits right here. So both of those connected help us come up with the answer. So the correct answer here, and I think Demaya put it in the chat, or maybe, let me pull my chat up.
Was carrots D?
Yeah, carrots was D.
Yeah, lots of people.
Okay, good. Now the second one, who will not be a guest? Ooh, this one is a little. Who will not be a guest at Mr. Fox's feast? Sorry. Ooh, I don't know if I need to go back into the text on this one. We can use what we just read about. Emmanuel has his own hand up. Anybody want to tell us the answer to this one? Once again, I'm looking for those who haven't participated much.
JV, who do you think it's gonna be? Not who do you think it's not gonna be?
Who's not coming to their feast?
The rat.
The rat! The rats! Mr. Fox don't like the rat. Remember, the rat is calling them thieves and bandits and this. It's the rats. Somebody chose. I saw that in the chat. I think someone chose. I'm trying to see. See. The Maya, you put the rabbits? The rabbits are coming. Remember, that's why they got the carrots for the rabbits, the Maya. They got the carrots for the rabbits. The badgers is helping them joining, but the rats are not. Okay. Now this one we're not going to spend too much time for. I'm going to like pretty much answer this. And Miss Miranda going to chime in. Why doesn't Mr. Fox want to talk about somebody trying to join? Why doesn't Mr. Fox want to talk about his tail with Badger? Miranda, you want to get it started or you want me to jump in there?
Well, we'll start with restating. So Mr. Fox doesn't want to talk about his tail because.
Okay, let's start with restating because that's what we've been working on. With Badger because
And I know, like, if I had a tail and I got shot off, that would hurt.
yeah, because it brings back. So because also, let me do another text box. I'm thinking like, I remember you saying, I don't want to talk about it. So I'm thinking that maybe it makes him feel bad. Like pain.
Maybe. I think I remember him saying, like, it's a painful subject. I don't want to talk about it.
Yes, okay. Also, okay, I remember it was in chapter when he met Badger. In chapter, wasn't it? Let's go back into the text because we never guessed. I'll annotate. Oh, I got a lot going on over here. I'm not sure how you do it all the time, Miss Miranda.
Sorry, I put the with in there because Ms. Felix pointed out that we forgot to put it in there.
Oh.
So that was me. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Thank you, Felix. Okay. I think it was chapter. Just bear with me with the words on the screen.
I think it's like when they were digging to the storehouse, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It was chapter 13. And they were talking about it. Badger. I think it was Badger, right?
Yeah, Badger had asked him.
Badger had asked him. I just don't remember. I think it was chapter. No, the chapter, so I couldn't chapter. Not a big deal. I think it was chapter 13.
It was chapter 13 or 12.
Thank you, Logan.
So these questions I know are only between 13 and 15, so
Okay. When Badger asked him about it, he said, what did he say? I'm just kind of paraphrasing something that we also learned about in writing. It's a painful subject to talk about.
yeah.
He said, there we go. He did not want to talk about it at the moment. Okay, so I think you get the gist of what we were trying to do here. We're just showing you how we put together everything that we've learned over the course of the year and answer these questions. And so one thing when you're reading a chapter book, you might not always be able to go back and find the word from word detail. But what Miss Williams and Miss Miranda did there is we worked together and she helped me paraphrase what he said. I don't need to know like the exact details because it would take me all day to do that. But you can paraphrase to show that you know what chapter the information came from. So thank you. Let me stop sharing my screen. Good job, everyone. And that is pretty much all I have. We have 2 more chapters left. It is 11:59. We are almost at the end of Mr. Fantastic Fox. We will finish the book probably on Monday. Wednesday, we probably will have some type of assessment over all the chapters for the most part. And so come prepared Wednesday to do that. And we'll help you through it, but we have some grades that we need to put in. And so make sure that next week you're on here. And if you have a friend who hasn't been on in a few days, make sure that they can get on here. And if they're having any technical difficulties, let us know because it's super important for us to do that. Anything on your end, Miss Miranda?
Nope, I think you covered everything. Just tomorrow we're gonna continue on with graphs. And be prepared to kind of have a little assignment to do after the fact as well.
Yeah. We appreciate you all diving in, staying patient, continue working hard. Next Thursday, we are going to celebrate. Your parents, by this point, has received some information and updates from Miss Miranda and myself and/or myself. Um, so if you having any trouble with iReady, because one of our coaches said that you all may, just be patient. We should be getting that worked out here soon.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, good job. And I think that we're about to just close it out by saying our goodbyes unless anybody have questions.